Crafters. So I am back, and what I've got started is our waterfall on this page. I've got the book turned upside down. That's how I like to put the waterfall pages on. I did put the first one on because I'm using score tape rather than glue. I want to see, I'm going to try what I've seen several crafters do when putting a score tape on. I've never done it that way, but I want to see how it works for me and see if I can line this up nice and straight going down. I decided not to put the pocket on because there wasn't really enough room. There wasn't enough room at this side. It was too small. So I decided that I'm just going to go with just the waterfall flaps. So these are all scored on the 6 3/4 side, or 6 3/4. So it's really the 6 1/4 side. I'm scoring 1/2 inch on the so that the 6 3/4 is now 6 1/2. So these are 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. So you can put 4 by 6 photos on here and still have a bit of a room. You can also put some on the back of here, or how you're going to put your photos in. Maybe you want to put two, a 4 by 4 photo on here with some of the paper on here. So there's lots of options for you to do with this waterfall, so being the size that it is. So what I want to try to do is make sure that my waterfall is matching up and that I'm going to get even and consistent pieces when I lay this down. So what I'm going to do is start off by peeling just part of that down, or up, not down, up, and then I'm going to match that up to the edge of my other one. So I only have that little corner down, but then I can match this up. Looks a little shy on this side, so I'm gonna turn this around. And that's the thing too, is that as you're putting these on and around, just flip them in all the different directions where you think, so that you can see what you want. Because sometimes when you score, your score folds a little bit different on different pieces. So that's why sometimes this doesn't lay exactly where you want it to lay and doesn't match up exactly where you want it to match up. So I'm trying this to see if this helps me, and here I keep getting my hair, little pieces all over. Terrible. Okay, so the good thing about this is this matches up down here. The bad thing is that this seemed to have moved a little bit. I'm going to pull this up. So it's not working as good as I thought it would. So that this matches up with that side. I'm going to put that down. Hopefully it looks good here. Okay, so there we go. It's down. All right, so then let's put our next one in. We are going to start like we did before, pulling off one edge, just a little bit of an edge so that it'll hold it down. Let's try to match it up nice and cleanly. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Looks really good on this side. So hopefully that will be good once I pull the rest of it off. And I put that down. that looks good. Thank you, Lord. All right, so let's do our next one. Oops, let me fold that up. So we're going to take this next one and fold it up. Sorry if my head's in the way, but I just need to get this so that it's matching up on both sides. I think this might be my go-to method from now on to do waterfalls. I feel like it gives me an opportunity to really make them straight and do a better job on them. Just got little bits of score tape coming out of here. All right, so we've got that one. And this white on here is from my white pen. And I didn't wait long enough in between putting them on, but there's going to be a photo or paper on there, so it will be fine. There we go. I feel like that's pretty good. Looks pretty good all the way down. I don't know if it looks good on camera, but it sure looks good to me here. So then the other thing that I was thinking about doing is, rather than putting magnets in here, is I was thinking about doing some kind of closure on this waterfall, and using some of my not cut aparts, but possibly a tag or something with the magnets underneath all of this. So I think that I'm going to do that, and if I do that, I want to put this in before I put the pocket on. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see what size this is. What I was trying to do is to create some sturdiness. So I actually have a piece of paper folded in half, and I'm trying to see, I have it at 6 inches. Maybe I'll make it at 5.5 and cut both of them at 5.5. And because I don't really need 6 inches, this will give me 5 inches. And I can glue these two together. The other thing that we can do is we can round the corners on this to give it a little bit, not such a square fit, in case we put something round on the folio or on the waterfall. So I think I'm going to do that. And I'm just using my medium punch. That's the other thing. I wanted to show you that I also had rounded the corners on this pocket lid so that it gives it a little bit of a different depth perception to it. So, and I'm going to round both of these. Can I do that like that, or did I do that wrong? Nope, that'll work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my magnet in between this so that if I don't have to, if it doesn't stick up, I can then put I don't have to put pattern paper on the back of this flap because it's the nice black cardstock, but we'll see. But I'm using one of the larger magnets because I'm only going to be putting one on here, and I'm putting it a little bit further down so that, again, when we put paper onto the front of this, it's not going to cover it or make, it's going to be able to stay a little bit easier. So we'll glue it together like that. So this piece for the flap is 2 inches by 5.5, and then we are going to score at 1/2 inch, and then at I think I may be scoring at 1/2 inch and then 3/4 inch to give me a little bit more of a gusset on this. Let me make sure it'll still hit where yeah, it'll still hit up there, I think. So let me glue this together and get this down, and then we'll go to the pocket. So, all right, let me clean up my schnibbly bits, and let's go back to getting this all together. And then I'm going to score it once it's all together, because there is going to be a significant thickness to it, but this gives us a little bit more, I think, as much as this will be bending back and forth or flapping back and forth in a folio, I think that it's a nice idea to have a little bit more, making it a little bit more solid so it doesn't bend out of use. And actually, I do have my, that's for my other ones. Just thinking, where did I put those other? Here we go. Got some of my other ribbons and things that I got with my kit. And I just wonder if I put my pattern paper on here and then was able to wrap my ribbon around that to add a little bit of depth to that. You know what I think I'm going to do is I possibly will do that, but you know what? I think I'm going to wrap that ribbon around my patterned paper so that it goes under, and I don't have to do that right at this moment. So that's my decision. And we'll see if I want to go there once I pull the paper out that we're putting on that. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to score at 3/4 inch. And this will give us a little bit of ability to have a little bit more depth to this flap so that there's a little bit of a gusset on the bottom. And in case our pictures pull the waterfall to larger size than what we had with just the original magnets, this will give us a lot of room and ability to let that grow. So let's just check to see if this all works and fits. I kind of guessed on the size. So yes, there's plenty of room there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to get this glued down, and then we are going to put our pocket down. I'm going to try to find the center of my book. Let's see if this is... I love this. I love this this ruler, but I always feel like I have to flip it around all the time. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 1/4. So putting this down should be right about here. And if I'm off, nobody's going to know because it's so close. The only thing I want to do is make sure I get it to the edge of my book so that we can get our pocket in there. Now you can double up on this cardstock or you don't have to. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. So and underneath here, what we're going to do is once we get the pocket in and we're working with our pattern paper, we will cover this with a pattern paper underneath there. So if you were concerned about that coverage. So take your pocket and go ahead and fold those hinges back. And what we're going to do is then miter our corners, angle that in slightly, and then angle that way a little bit. And again, come in here, and then turn it and angle it that way a little bit. We're going to come onto here and angle that down just a smidge. And we will come into here and just angle that down just a smidge, being careful not to cut into our straight seam of the pocket. All right. So then what we can do is put our pocket into here. And what I want to do is try to line this pocket. Oh, that's almost perfect. I think I'm going to line this up so it's right to the edge of the outside seam. I think that's the way this is a little bit shorter than my photo mats, but I think in order to keep, because this line is so good along here, I think I'm going to make sure my pocket goes in so that it lines up with those pages. So what we're going to do is take this so that our hinge, the bottom hinge is on the outside so that when we're putting tags or booklets in there that it doesn't get caught on that, or at least doesn't get as caught as frequently. So let's go ahead and get our glue. And you know, you can do that whole score tape thing as well with putting your pocket in so you have a little bit of room for movement. But again, I prefer glue over score tape. So, except for we've found in that one situation with the waterfalls, seemed to be actually a better process only because gives us more time to move. I find that the art glitter glue, while it's wonderful because it actually it dries quicker. Dries quicker than some glues do. Like the Barely Art glue, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't stick as fast as the art glitter glue does. And so in the long term, my understanding is it's as good as the art glitter glue, but so I actually have both. I use both of them, but art glitter glue is really my favorite when I'm putting albums together because of the fact that it dries quicker. So then we've got our pocket in here, and we've got this set up here. So we've got enough room in this little flap for adding things underneath and adding our pattern paper onto the front of these, this waterfall. So the next thing that we want to do is I want to take another one of these, and it's on the back of that, and then I want to put this just so that the flap is a little bit loose. All right. So I made sure I have my 1/4 of an inch here, and I'm going to stick that down right there so it gives me some room. And sometimes when you put those on, you have to kind of slide them off. Honestly, that looks a little crooked, doesn't it? Ugh. I should always check those things before I like thoroughly stick something down. It's not perfect, but it looks a little better. I should say a little straighter, I think. Ah, well, it is what it is, right? So we still have some extra room in there. So that's that down there. Now let's go back to our other pocket. And these should be nice and dry by now. I'm going to come back into here, and I'm going to just burnish that a little bit more so that paper breaks down a little bit. Be careful if you're not using artisan cardstock, because some cardstocks cannot hold up to heavy burnishing, and normally the artisan cardstock does just fine with it. So we're going to take this pocket, and it's going to go down onto this side, and I want to just make sure that as I'm putting this together that it's matching up with my lid or cover for my pocket. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get our glue on here. Hopefully I'm in camera. Sorry if I wasn't. I know that that happens frequently when, you know, people can get out of camera if you can't see, because I don't have another monitor where I can see what's going on per se while I'm doing my videos. But I'll tell you the truth, that's one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm watching other YouTube videos, is that they go so out of camera that I can't see what they're doing. And then, so I hate it if I do. So I'm going to apologize right up front for any inconvenience I might cause if I ever go out of frame. I don't mean to. So let's put this down nice and flat. Let's make sure we still fold well, because we've got plenty of room in between there. We're right up here. We only see black cardstock in there. That's perfect. And we've got lots of room for this pocket to expand. So there you go. We've got most of this glued down and done. Let's just burnish this one more time so that we make sure our glue is sticking well. Might even take my clothes pins, or as they say in Great Britain, pegs. I think I'm going to use those just to hold that down for a little bit. I don't think it's going to come up, but better safe than sorry. All right, so we have really almost everything done in here, and the whole folio put together, with the exception of decorating the front. Except decorating the front and putting our pattern paper down into the folio itself. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the papers for the mats for all of this, for this book or the folio, and I will be back to show you how I'm putting that all down and putting it together. So what I'm going to do is cut them all out and get them ready, and then I'll show you my decorating. So we'll see you in just a little bit. So let's go back and put some of the pattern paper onto our folio. I'm going to go through and do the basics with you, but then after that, the decorating of the cover or some of the other pages, I will leave that for you to do. So this is just temporary down. I was trying to do that to make my cuts. So what I'm going to start off with is on the front of this page, I think I'm going to leave the rest of these underneath black for now. Not sure. I'm going to see what I've got left as far as the paper goes. So I'm double matting just this one because honestly I cut this too short, so I thought, I'll just use some cardstock. Again, creative opportunities. Those things happen and you just got to make the most of it. So that's what I'm doing, and I think it looks really nice actually. So we will add this to the top of this mat, and then you can go down and add any of the other mats top side. I am for sure not going to do the back sides of any of these because I want to leave that open for pictures. We've got that. I honestly haven't decided what I wanted to do with that yet. I keep going back and forth with magnets and not with the magnets, and with the tie and not with the tie. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may even take and do twine. And if I do, I'm going to just cover that over with the cut apart. So I've caught, I guess I was going to tell you the sizes. So for the front flap, the cardstock was 4 1/8 by 6 1/8, and then the pattern paper was 4 by 6 for that front pocket. And then for the pocket lid, this is 6 1/8 by 2 5/8, and I rounded the corners on both of those. And also I am inking the edges so that none of that white shows with the black. Trying to center that up. And then I'm going to put this down onto the pocket because I didn't want to put anything that was too patterned next to that. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to use to use this paper on the bottom. Gosh, it almost feels like it's too small. I think I cut it just a little bit shy, but we're going to just go with it. And the pocket itself, I had it cut 6 1/8 by 3 3/8. Yep, I cut this just a 1/16 shy. And so mine is just a little bit shy, so it should be 6 1/8 in order for that to be covered properly. I wonder if I think I have another piece here. Yep, I'm going to recut that because I can use that for something else. And I'm going to just cut that off. Make sure I cut that well. So 6 1/8 by 3 3/8. Just take a little bit off of that. Seems like I should have taken more. Oh, you know what? I think that's a little bit. I think the 3 3/8 is actually, it should be 3 1/8, I believe. Three 1/8, that looks right. Just gonna cut that off. Let's just go back and see if this fits now. Of course. Okay, now I cut it too short on top. But you know what? I'm gonna fix that with something else. I will use a cutoff of some solid cardstock to make this. You probably can't see it, but I can see it. Oh my gosh. My goodness. Otherwise, I can go back to, you know what? I'm just going to go back to this one. Yep, I'm just going to go back to this one. It's already inked and everything. Ah, for goodness sakes. You know what? It's just paper. And nobody says that it has to be done one way or the other. I can make my own rules up when it comes to my folio. I give you the right measurements, but I'm not cutting it right. But I've given the right ones to you. So let me get my wipe here. So that'll come down like that, and that looks good. It looks good with the cover and makes sense with the cover. Now on the inside, one of the things that I didn't think about is with this angled pocket in here, I wanted to cover more of this than what it seemed like. So I've never done this before, first time for everything, but what I decided was to cut off some so that I could feed this down into the pocket, and then this would be going over across the front. And basically these are a 1/2 inch wide, and the total length is 6 1/8 by, gosh, I can hardly see that, by 1 7/8. And then I just made sure this was at least a 1/2 inch to cover my base of my lid. And you know what? It's not going to be perfect in there, but I think that it works to be able to get better coverage for inside that pocket. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll show you the inside of the pocket once if I can get it up to the camera enough. I'll show you what it looks like. But this way, we're covering a lot of the top of the pocket without, and getting some other color down into the pocket. So I just thought it looked better. So, and you almost can't even tell that it's cut that way because of the edges. So I think it worked pretty good. It gives us a nice clean look when it's opened up. So the next thing, now I don't think I did I? No, I didn't cut anything for this. So I'm gonna have to go back and cut something for that. And that flap, front flap was front flap pocket lid 6 1/8 by 2 5/8. So I wonder if I could do this. Yes. And I know it's exactly the same. And I don't want to do that because of the cars. I'm trying to save paper as I go so that I'm not cutting off things. Oh, you know what? Oh no, that's for something else. Sorry. Nope. You know what? I think I'm gonna go and just I have quite a few. I'm trying to minimize, but I think I've done this all pretty much with 4 of the 8x8 papers. So I think I'm going to use this one for the cover. And anything that's left over I can use to cut off some of the other, or cut on some of the other ones. So I'm going to make this 6 1/8. Wait, I'm going to cut this the long way first. So 2 5/8. So that I don't ruin the 2 1/2, 2 5/8. This way I have a big piece still left. And then I'm going to go to my 6 1/8. And cut that. And let's bring this in again. This is going to go right here. So we want to round our corners on the top piece. Ugh. Something that's just right in front of you. So watching me decorate the front of this album, I believe, will be slightly painful. So, as I said, I'm going to do it off camera. Takes me a long time to kind of put it together what I want to. I'm trying, you know, a dozen different things. So, I will spare you that. And I will show you what I did when I do the walkthrough. Or you probably will have seen it by now because I'm putting the walkthrough up before I put the rest of this part up. I think that looks pretty good. So this, that's these two things. Now I just need to figure out what I'm going to do to keep this pocket down, and I'm not sure. So I'll let you know when we get through. But for now, this piece is on here temporarily, And I'm going to put that on here, and then I'm going to do a 1/2 inch coming down for the rest of these with a different paper. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, and I want to measure this again just to see where I'm at. 3/8. I actually did this with a temporary tape because I wanted to measure out the other cardstock that I wanted to put down. So I am going to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to try not to pick this fully up so that I can make sure I can leave it centered where I have it centered. Alright, and then I'll pull this half down. I know it looks ridiculous, but let me tell you, thank goodness for removable tape, or not permanent tape. You know, and it may not be perfectly centered, but it's the best that I could do. So and what I want to do is to break up some of that pattern, and I'm going to break up that pattern with some of this solid colored cardstock. And to help me out a little bit, I'm going to put that in here because I want to make sure that I so that's going to go down there. And this piece here is 3/8 of an inch. Could be just shy of that, but it's about 3/8 of an inch and the same height as this patterned paper, which I'll get you that measurement in just a moment. So now we've got this one. Let's just measure that to make sure we're going to be fine going down with that. Looks good. So I have a question. If you've watched through this point, thank you. But I do have a question. Do you like to watch when the folios or mini albums get matted? Or do you like to see just the basic construction? My other question would be and kind of goes in line with what I just asked, if you don't like to watch the matting necessarily, would you like it better if the matting itself was just sped up so that you could watch it, but it would be in fast motion? Wondering what your thoughts are about that. So then what I'm going to do is I am going to take 1/2 inch piece of this pattern paper, and we are going to put that down onto the ends here, and all of these have been inked as well. So that leaves this wide open. Now, if you want to put 4x4 photos in here, remember that you can always come back in here and you can put a photo in the middle here, but let's say it is a 4x4. Well, you can come in and mat here with cardstock, or you can put your 4x4 here and mat down the side with, not cardstock, but pattern paper. So leaving this black doesn't mean you have to leave the black border all around when you're putting your pictures down. You can come back and kind of fill in those sections with the pattern paper. But it's good to leave some extra sheets so that you can do that. So when you're finished with your album, make sure that you keep a couple of the 8x8 sheets for your matting and how you want to do that. And maybe you want to do a 4x4 every other one, and then you want to do a 4x6. So you'll do this and you'll do another mat up here. It's completely up to you how you want to do that and handle it. I think it looks really nice to do that, to do the photo and then the matting around it. The nice thing about this folio is once you have the measurements down, this will be really, really quick to put together again. Basically, it's putting your folio together, then cutting your cardstock and scoring all your cardstock, and then just cutting out your pattern paper. And honestly, it is a quick, very easy. You could finish it in an evening, possibly. You could even finish it in, could make a couple of them probably on the weekend, because you can do double cuts as you go. That's what I would do. So then we're going to put this down here so that that follows along with that pattern. So this is going, and oh, sorry. So these strips, the strip sizes are, well, I have them as 1/2 inch by 6 1/8. That's the size of the 1/2 inch pieces on here. And then the pocket, for this pocket, this is it is pocket size, okay, 2 7/8 by 6 inches. That's how I, it is not 6 1/8. I did it by 6 inches because that was how the paper came out. And I probably could recut it now that I used that other piece, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it just the way it is, because I think it works just fine. When the other pages are down, it looked good. So we've got that, and then I pulled this piece that I had cut previously, and this was a 4x6 that I had cut when I was cutting this, and I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to slide this in here, and I think that looks good. Do the other side. This is the other side of the fisherman's paper. It's really nice colors. The colors go really well together. And I can put some tags in that pocket or a booklet. I think I cut one too many. That looks a little bit off to me. Boy, when I put it down before, it didn't look that off. I think because I had this over further. Ah, well. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it. It's just a minor faux pas. And actually, I'm wondering if you know what? I might go back and fix this, because sometimes you can go back and layer this up so that it matches exactly to what the pattern is. And I think I would be happier with that if that went over it. I see why that's sticking off. I don't know. I'll think about that. Maybe I won't, maybe I will. Actually, I think that cut works better. All right. Surgery. Let's see if we can do this. Pray for me cutting straight. Okay. So our surgery goes like this. Just need to cut that schnibbly bit off. Ugh. Watch, I've cut it too much. Nope, let's put that down. Let's see how that ends up looking. I honestly could always take it off. And I can always put something on the pocket so it doesn't show as much. So we've got lots of options. That's what I like, opportunities and options. There we go, that's much better. I was really lucky to have that offcut called paper surgery. And this side is a little bit in, but I am not going to worry about that. All right, that's awesome. Exciting. So then what we've got is, the last thing is matting our flap, and I thought about putting this on here. Maybe that's too much of that. I don't want to do that because of the thing is that it stays with the theme, because what I have is this guy with that same plaid. So I think I'm gonna just do that, and I can change things up if need be. And this is 2 inches across. So with it being 2 inches across, I cut my pattern paper at 1 7/8. And the length on the flap is, let me measure that. I don't know if the length of that is 4 5/8. 4 5/8 about. But, you know, just make it so that it matches up with your tab. Now I could leave that like that, but I think I want to put this onto there, and I'm actually going to put this, so this is covering this up, and that it's like a sandwich all the way around. But I still need to find paper for the back of here. I wonder if this is long enough. But it really doesn't have any red in it. Just looking at my offcuts. Well, you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I think it'll look cute to use. Do I have any more? Well, maybe I can use that instead of cutting another piece. Since this is the back, it fits that way. And this is going to go down over, can do that, or I could put a strip, easily put a strip of the cardstock along here and frame in that. I think I'm going to do that. So, hi crafters. Well, you probably saw the unexpected stopping of the video. So my phone died. I think that if there was something that could go wrong with the filming of this or uploading of these tutorials and the walkthroughs, I think it happened this time. So let me just go back through and show you a couple different things. So when I left off on that page, I was doing this part of the cut apart, and I ended up putting a solid piece of cardstock there, a piece of the pattern paper, and then I backed this with the My Colors cardstock as well. As far as this waterfall goes, I did not add anything additional onto these the pattern paper, and this is still open for the pocket for the tag, and that closed up like that because my magnet is on underneath there. And you probably saw in the walkthrough I added a brad with a black base to it on both sides so that I could wrap that around and close that up. This is closed with magnets, and it's just the plain flap on here. But two other things that I added since the walkthrough actually is I added this tag to the top, or cut apart to the top of the album. I just thought that this looked a little bit bare up here, and I know it's a really busy cover, and the cover being really busy, it made me think of, you know how guys like to have lots of tools and gears and, you know, screwdrivers and screws and, you know, just all kinds of stuff, like kind of like a car junkyard. That's what it kind of reminded me of. Even though nothing is really junky looking, it just kind of went to that direction. So that's why I kind of did too. The other thing that I did differently or added to this is I added some of the cut aparts or the ephemera pieces onto the back of the mini album and or the folio, and on top of this My Colors solid cardstock. So I just wanted to show you those couple items. There was not that much missed in the end of that tutorial with the the flap up on the waterfall. But I wanted to apologize, and I wanted to thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing. All of that is very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful evening. Happy crafting!